Welcome one and all to our week's special Infested Planet! I will be your host today, Johnny, with my side host, Tommy. Hello, Tommy. How are you doing today? Well, I'm doing quite good, actually, Johnny. Thank you for asking. I'm really excited to be bringing you this footage, all to the people of Earth. This footage will be allowed to be brought to you by Rocket Bear Studios. Always putting bears in rockets. Nobody knows why, but why bother asking? Let us look at the options that we have for capture resolution into bringing you this fine footage of real-time combat from an alien invasion. As you see, our screen resolution and graphical capabilities are more than enough to handle upon what we need. Doesn't offer too much detail, but that's fine because we don't want to scare Grandma now, do we, Johnny? Oh no, we definitely don't need Grandma falling over from a heart attack because she sees a scary monster. But don't you worry about those scary monsters. Our good old military boys will deal with them, no problem. Ain't that right, Tom? That is right, Johnny. And I'm glad that, we can come together and realize this, because there's a lot of work going into invading a planet. I mean, if you look at the skirmishes alone, battles after battles after battles, again and again. Oh, I know what you're saying, Tom. It's just watching it so much work. How do they do it all? Oh, but to make it even worse, you got weekly challenges. And these are the challenges subcontracted by the military because the lower forces couldn't handle them. They're too difficult. They need the best of the best. Yeah, it's mind-blowing. I agree with you, Tom. But let's get back to what the important factor is here, is the campaign. As we see, today our footage will be of that of a young new commander, SocioPsycho, leading on to the battlefront, capturing into his viewpoint from his HUD himself. Rise and shine, you devils. Hope you all had mighty comfy dreams, 'cause you're gonna be ankle deep in alien bleep by this evening. We all been here for one reason, to get paid for big bucks. So don't die on me out there, 'cause you ain't getting paid if you're chewed up carcasses lying on the rocks below. You know what to do. You've trained hard for this. I'll see you grunts planetside. So Tom, as we see now, we're moving into our troops led by the young commander has said, SocioPsycho. Now what exactly is happening on this planet for those who don't realize? Well, that's quite easy, Johnny. It seems that the planet Earth forces have decided to recolonize an entire alien planet already controlled by a mysterious alien force. And so what we're able to see here is the actual invasion from a commander's hub of the battle itself. Now that's pretty amazing. Now wouldn't you say technology has really come a long way? Oh, I would agree, John. As you see, the enemy spawns from different hive points, and those hive points are strong tactical reward points. Strong tactical points which need to be captured. Forces must move up, they must capture these points, and in doing so, allowing our brave men and women to control the battlefield. Now, I must say, Johnny, that this sort of bloodshed, this sort of bullet letting, is a bit much to perhaps take in. Oh, absolutely. It is a lot of blood, a lot of bullet sponging aliens, and a lot of death. But you know what? That's what makes it so beautiful. I must agree with you there, Tom, because if it wasn't for all the aliens, what would we be doing here in the first place? Well, I assume we'd still be recolonizing, but it just wouldn't be the same, now would it, Tom? It just wouldn't be the same. You certainly are right, Johnny. You certainly are right. Because there's nothing that says fresh resources and minerals quite the same as after you completely annihilate a planet's inhabitant species. Oh, Tommy, another mission well racked up, although that was only the beginning.
The beginning of a long and beautiful combat campaign filled with alien innards. What more could we ask for in life, Johnny? Besides for your friendship, Tommy, there's nothing else.
You're kicking alien ass now. Why don't you mop up here and capture this entire sector? I'll see you back at base.
See the mission briefing. Military contractors of the 101 First Fleet. You have got a job to do. At 0500 hours, one of our Logitech shuttles suffered engine failure and crashed somewhere in the Badlands to the east. The shuttle was destroyed and valuable supplies are scattered all over the area. It is your mission to find and retrieve those supplies. They are vital to the success of this campaign. The
A beachhead has been established perfectly. I sent out Drake's hired guns to look for the missing weapons and explosives. I cannot say that I trust the man. He seems experienced enough, but I cannot shake the feeling that he will turn away as soon as the coin runs dry. It is best to wrap up this bloody business fast. I will strike hard for the center of the alien growth, and cut out the beast's heart. If luck holds, we will all be home for New Year.
Here's the deal, folks. We need to roll through this patch of grubs, get to our target. Can't have this mess at our backs. Take the team and capture this entire sector.
Well, Tom, what do you think about that briefing? Certainly is quite an adventure, wouldn't you say? Indeed it does, and an adventure I look forward to, Johnny.
Hey, you look a bit lonely out there. Let's get us some backup, eh?
Well, look at that, Johnny. SocioPsycho's calling in some reinforcements. That's always a good thing to be able to do. Tom, there's nothing like having an army at your back, with no worries except running out of bullets. Armies don't come free though, Tom, unfortunately. They cost BP points and scrap, which you gain throughout the battlefield.
Bet the general is sending the devils into the sticks to get us out of the way. Well, as long as he's paying, I don't mind.
Incoming transmission. You know what? We need bigger guns. Let me hop on phone and see what we can deliver. I love my shotguns. Babies kick like a mule though. Let's grab a couple of those crates down there. So, Johnny, as we can see, they're using rockets and grenades to destroy some of those alien enforcements. That's right, Tom. Among many of the weapons of death and doom, you have a capability to use rockets launched at certain towers for a spike load of damage. Aye, Johnny, that's right. But that costs ammo, which will regain over time, but their team can only carry so much at once. Tom, what do you think of these military-grade shotguns? Oh, well, you know me. Anything that gives an alien two faces when fired is alright by my standards. Now, Johnny, what did you think about the briefing missions that they allowed us to see? Well, Tom, I have to say it's not unlike military forces to be a little untrustworthy of mercenary forces. I mean, most mercenaries are known to just abandon when the money isn't ripe. So putting them in a correct position where they're not going to just walk out on you is one key factor of military program. The mission payout load, the things that we can scavenge off a corpse as well as get paid for military for job well done.
Soldiers, our task is secure a metric ton of lost goodies. We're right near the crash site, so we'll see boxes any time now. I'm sure that our alien friends have already soldered all over them, so keep your rifles close. Glad to see most of you boys and girls made it in one piece. You keep being real careful like you, and soon y'all be back home getting drunk and counting your pay. And don't you go stirring up trouble with the army. I'm getting enough glares as it is. General Magazine, some sort of hero. You stir up enough crap and you might just find yourself on front lines dying for humankind or something. Just keep your head down and do your job. Would you look at that? I wonder if General would notice if we kept a couple boxes, maybe a couple dozen. No need to be stingy with rocket squad. Let's go blow stuff up. Well, Tom, as we see here, forces are moving right into what seems to be enemy turrets and spawning pits. That's right, John, but it's no worry, because they're using rockets to quickly destroy those bunkered areas. I guess I have to borrow some rockets from the army.
Well, John, rockets, as we covered before, will recuperate over a period of time. But ammo boxes throughout the field are a quick way of getting resources that you need. In a heated battle, every little bit counts. That's sure right. Last thing you want to do is to be ending up with no bullets and a bunch of aliens breathing down your neck. Oh, could you only imagine the bad breath it would have? That alone could kill you.
Oh man, this is gonna be fun. Nearly as good as that time I borrowed that tank.
Speaking of tanks, Johnny, didn't your grandma drive a tank back in the day when she served in the military? That's right, Tom. Old Granny was known for many things. Her amazing cooking, the way her house smelled of warm, fresh bread, and her frenetic passion in destroying and running things over while in her tank. I do believe she was buried wearing her combat boots. Isn't that right, John? Indeed it is. It seems now that SocioPsycho is going to reinforce with a bunch of extra troops and push up northwards, using the rockets to quickly take out and take care of the turrets and defensive structures, pushing his way straight into the hive itself. I don't know about you, but being down on front lines, blood and guts and screaming aliens, that sounds like a good old time. Well, John, I must be honest. Blood, guts, screaming, and a bunch of loud noises kind of sounds just like any other one of your family get-togethers. Oh, Tom, how you kid. Sure, how I kid. I wonder what the boss man has in store for us. Heard that the army's preparing for a big push. Good plan if it works. Not so good plan if we all get killed because of it. So far as we see, the push is going quite well. Of course, now that he's coming up on the hardcore structure, rockets and grenades are going to be a real key point in destroying all these fortifications. But with so much ammunition around in the boxes littered in the battlefield, that won't be an issue. He's just blowing his way right through us like it's absolutely nothing. It is quite a spectation to see the battle underway and take as care as we can. Of course, many men are getting taken out during this combat. Their replacements are being filtered in at the nearest command center. Well, that's one more point for us and one less point for the aliens and domination. That's right, Johnny. Nothing like a good couple aliens lose their footing to make us feel better about ourselves. And as you can see, victory is clearly close in this battle. As again, these are the only beginning fertile stages, Johnny. That's absolutely right. What horrors do you think will lie ahead of our intrepid commander? Well, if I had to be a guessing man, I would say big aliens. That's so insightful. Don't know how you do it, Tom.
It just comes to me, Johnny. Just comes to me.
Now, Tom, I'd like to take a moment and address everybody that's listening that this footage is brought to you by Rashomatic. Rashomatic. Give your enemies the rash that you always wanted them to have. That's not, Johnny. There's nothing exactly like having a good old rash forced upon your enemies. Kinda like putting a few holes in these giant aliens. And there we have it, folks. Another successful mission completed by our young commander, SocioPsycho. Nothing like some good reward. Drake, your team is out of control. War is intellect, not a joyride. I ordered you to secure the ammunition dump, not use half of it on your own personal fireworks display. I obviously can't trust you on the front lines. Report to the east of the camp. For guard duty, I'm assigning someone to babysit your band of amateurs.
The mission is proceeding according to schedule, and the next xenoforms have offered only taking resistance if General Mango's estimates are correct. The planet will be ready for Stage 1 colonization within 6 months. The Army has assigned a mercenary platoon to facilitate the Councilor's scientific goals and Sharon. I will meet and assess their suitability shortly. We will act to preserve as much of the alien biomass for study as is feasible.
Oh hell, who built this? What a damn mess. The bugs just march through. We gotta shore up this before it's too late. Good stuff. Takes a while for our boys to build things, but it is sure worth it. Heck, I even do it right in the enemy's face when I'm attacking. Now we're rolling. Let squad roll out and practice shooting. Clear the enemies, but don't forget the turrets.
So, Tom, what exactly now does SocioPsycho have access to now? Well, it seems that the military group has allowed him command over some basic turret structures that cost a certain amount of BP. These will allow some more intense strategic plays in holding ground better, instead of having to rely on troops just to hold every single position. That will definitely come in handy. Now, Tom, for those who don't know at home, our standard military-grade turret structure can fire up to 8,000 rounds per minute of armor-piercing titanium bullets with a hollow point tip. Those hollow point tips are very important because upon impact, they intend to cause the bullet to expand upon entering a target, doing maximum damage and ripping things apart even from the inside. It's quite beautiful. Good morning, Captain Drake. I understand we shall be working together. Ah, the beautiful and smart scientist with her red glazed hair and her smart. Don't you think she's quite a looker, Tom? Well, she's better than the bugs. We'll give her that much. Aw, don't be coy. She's quite cute, and she's a scientist to boot. Oh, very clever. Very clever. I think you've been staring around bugs too long. Well, as we noticed, SocioPsycho is taking it another point, as he sends some more men to gather up some additional ammunition and calls in a few reinforcements, because there's nothing more useful than some extra guns on the front line. It seems like they're almost an unstoppable force.
Well, Tom, they certainly are quite numberless, but I wouldn't worry too much about our boys not being able to handle what they signed up for, and if it comes down to the fact that they can't, well then it just means more bloodshed for our viewer base. Indeed it does, Johnny. Indeed it does.
I don't know if you've noticed, Doctor, but we're a bit busy over here. Why don't you go back to base,
Well, do I see a love interest happening here, Johnny? I don't know, Tom. Do you think the rugged and hardened military commander could fall for such a scientist as her? Well, anything's possible. Unlikely. Then let me rephrase that, Captain. The General has placed your platoon under my direction. You work for me now. Well, well, the cat has claws, doesn't she? Well, as we noticed, Tom, he's making good progress in pushing his army forward. As he continues to advance, he is now building a turret for that extra little bit of damage. Every little damage output can make the difference between life and death at times. You know, Johnny, all this death and gloom and decision-making and damage output reminds me of the dangers that one must face in their certain lives every single day, such as your case, the dangers upon when you invite me over for your wife's cooking.
We don't take orders from scientists. You can tell that to Magnuson yourself. Now stop bothering me. I have a battle to win.
You know, Johnny, I can actually relate to the commander here in his disagreements with wanting to follow and comply with the scientist. I myself don't like being told what to do now and again. It's like when I come over to eat for dinner at your place and your wife's on one of her experimental Ben cooking expeditions, and I have the food in front of me. I know I need to eat it because I need to eat, but it just does not seem smart.
Good work, men. Intel's squawking about a large tax coming from the west. Let's recycle everything to return our metal. Don't worry if you get 100% back. What's going on now, Johnny? Well, it seems that they're recycling all the used up equipment in order to make more structures, as he puts structures on the front line. This availability and tool is very important in being able to decide what buildings you want to have on a structure. If one front that you built up a bunch of turrets on is no longer the front of a battle, then you can simply just get rid of those turrets, get back your points, and put them back on the front. The availability to be able to do this sort of thing definitely increases the capability of mixing the combat strategy to counter your enemy's current tactics. And when we talk about the upgrade capabilities, Tom, and how you can change your frontline troops
into flamethrowers, scouts, shotguns, even officers. There's a wide variety of birth and capability in what you're able to do. Not only are those death field upgrades decent enough there, but when you have the building structures such as shield generators, mortar guns, medic bots, artillery, landmines, and air support, you know, it just turns it into one giant enjoyable death ride. I must say I agree with you, Johnny. And there's nothing more than we like than a roller coaster of blood and death.
Where the seven hells did that thing come from? Hold the line, devils!
Well, isn't that a shock? Didn't see that one coming, or did we?
Now, Tom, exactly what is happening on this battlefield? Because it looks pretty chaotic. Well, John, I must say that what's going on right now is a bunch of stronger, more advanced aliens came pouring out of the ground from the hive, attacking onto the front line. Now, these more advanced critters, when they explode and die, their bodies actually transform into different pods and mutate on the spot into towers. If a pod, mutating pods are not destroyed in time, a whole batch of different towers and structures that will either spew out laser poison damage or troops will just be continuing to come. So these must be cleaned up all at once, or else the battle could be lost. Pretty smart move there from our young commander in recycling all the old turrets and then moving them up and placing some down. He lost a lot of troops on the main push, and so backing up with additional support by the turrets until reinforcements get up on the front line was definitely a good call. I agree, John.
Had me worried there for a while. Good job building that defense, boys.
Hello, Captain. You'll be receiving your briefings from me now. The army is mobilizing for a big push into the cave system, and you are going to be in the front line of the attack. General Mansung and I have decided to use the Devils as a recon team, so you can be the first to see what the aliens have for us. Report to the front at 0900, Captain.
Well, that seems to be it for today, Tom. That does make me sad, Johnny. The fact I have to wait till 0900 before I get to see more aliens be blown apart is just not fair. I do agree, Tom. But for all of our viewers, thank you for watching Infested Planet coverage! I have been John, and I have been Tom, and we'll see you next time!